Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad was first published in 1997 and quickly became a must-read for people interested in investing, money, and the global economy. The book has been translated into dozens of languages, sold around the world, and has become the #1 personal finance book of all time. The overarching theme of Rich Dad Poor Dad is how to use money as a tool for wealth development. It destroys the myth that the rich are born rich, explains why a personal residence may not really be an asset, describes the real difference between an asset and a liability, and much more. In today's video, we're going to provide you a short summary so you can get the gist of it. But before we get into the video, as always, we have a bonus fact waiting for you later in the video, so stay tuned. About the author. Robert Kiyosaki is an entrepreneur, investor, and author of the best-selling book on personal finance, Rich Dad Poor Dad. He teaches millions of people around the world about financial literacy and how to accomplish financial independence. He believes that each of us has the power to make changes in our lives, take control of our financial future, and live the rich life we deserve. About the book. Robert writes about the two main influential fathers in his life. Poor Dad was Kiyosaki's biological father, who believed in studying hard and getting good grades, then finding a well-paying job. Yet, despite these seemingly positive attributes, Poor Dad didn't do well financially. Rich Dad was the father of Kiyosaki's best friend. He had a similar work ethic to Kiyosaki's real dad, but with a twist. Rich Dad believed in financial education, learning how money works, and understanding how to make money work for you. Number 1. The rich don't work for money. The truth is that the majority of rich people do work very hard, but they go about it differently than most people do. Rich people and people who want to become rich work and learn every day how to put money to work for them. As Rich Dad says, the poor and middle class work for money. The rich have money to work for them. Kiyosaki also notes that having a regular job is just a short-term solution to the long-term problem or challenge of creating wealth and financial freedom. Number 2. Why teach financial literacy? An asset is something that has value, that produces income or appreciates, and has a market where the asset can easily be bought and sold. Conversely, liabilities take money out of your pocket because of the costs associated with them. When Rich Dad Poor Dad was first published back in 1997, Kiyosaki created a lot of controversy with this statement. That's because, by definition, a personal residence isn't an asset unless it appreciates enough to offset the costs of ownership. On the other hand, rental property is an asset because it can generate enough passive income to exceed the expenses of operating and financing the real estate. Number 3. Mind your own business. There are two key messages in this chapter. First, pay off your debts and start investing in income-producing assets as soon as possible. Next, stay financially healthy by spending your time instead of your paycheck and investing as much of your money as possible in assets. Kiyosaki notes in Chapter 3 of Rich Dad Poor Dad that most people confuse their profession with their business. In other words, they spend their entire lives working in somebody else's business and making other people rich. Number 4. The history of taxes and the power of corporations. When reading this chapter, it's important to keep in mind that Kiyosaki wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad as a motivational book, not to provide expert financial or tax advice. For example, Kiyosaki writes about the time he bought a Porsche and treated it as a business expense using before-tax dollars. Buying a high-end luxury car when a much less expensive make and model would do could put an investor on the fast track to an IRS audit. But putting the Porsche aside, the points made in this chapter discuss how to play the investment game smart. The rich understand the power of company structures and the tax code and use every legal means they can to minimize their tax burden. Chapter 4 of the book also covers the 4 main components of what Kiyosaki calls financial IQ, which is accounting, investment strategy, market law, and law. As Rich Dad Poor Dad reminds us, understanding the legal and tax advantages significantly contribute to building long-term wealth. Number 5. The rich invent money. Inventing money means finding opportunities or deals that other people don't have the skill, knowledge, resources, or contacts for. In Chapter 5, Rich Dad Poor Dad explains there are 2 types of investors. Investment packages are bought by people who entrust their money to a developer or fund manager. This is the way that most people invest, such as buying shares of an ETF or putting money into a real estate crowdfunding venture. Professional investors look after their own investments, research the market to find deals that make sense, then hire professionals to manage the daily oversight. Professional investors have three things in common: identifying opportunities that other people have not found, raising funds for investment, and working with other intelligent people. Number 6. Work to learn. Poor Dad was intelligent and well-educated and worked for money because job security meant everything to him. Rich Dad became a millionaire by working to learn. Kiyosaki joined the Marines after graduating from college and learned the essential business skills of leading and managing people. After serving his country, Kiyosaki joined Xerox, overcame his fear of rejection to become one of the top 5 salespeople in the company, then left the corporate world to form his own business. Number 7. Overcoming obstacles. Chapter 7 of Rich Dad Poor Dad begins by noting that the primary difference between a rich person and a poor person is how they manage fear. Robert Kiyosaki isn't talking about the type of fear that some people have when going to the dentist or watching The Exorcist. In the book, fear is about the fear of losing money and how to handle that fear. It's one of the 5 biggest obstacles people face on the path to becoming financially independent are fear, cynicism, laziness, bad habits, and arrogance. These roadblocks and the failure to overcome them are why people who have studied and achieved financial literacy are still unable to develop assets that generate plentiful amounts of cash flow. Number 8. Getting started. In Chapter 8, Rich Dad Poor Dad tells us that there is gold everywhere. Most people are not trained to see it. Part of this lack of vision and clarity comes from the world we live in. We're trained from a very young age to work hard for someone else, spend the money that we earn, and borrow more if we run short. Unfortunately, people who choose to become one of the masses never take the time to develop their financial genius. Investing in real estate is the perfect example. The average person can spend a week out in the field and find nothing, while the investor who has trained himself can easily find 4 or 5 deals that make sense in a single day. The 5 big ideas. Number 1. The poor and the middle class work for money. The rich have money to work for them. Number 2. It's not how much money you make that matters. It's how much money you keep. Number 3. Rich people acquire assets. The poor and middle class acquire liabilities that they think are assets. Number 4. Financial aptitude is what you do with money once you make it, how you keep people from taking it from you, how to keep it longer, and how you make money work hard for you. Number 5. The single most powerful asset we all have is our mind. Thank you for being patient and staying with us throughout the video. It's now time for the bonus fact. Robert has various property management projects running throughout America. His assets include big apartment complexes, hotels, and golf courses. He is also the head and investor of oil drilling operations, as well as oil wells, and even a startup solar company. What do you think about this book and Kiyosaki's views on making money without making mistakes? We appreciate you staying with us so far. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe before leaving. And of course, click the bell icon to get notified about more videos like this. See you in the next video. Bye!